I'm gonna go ahead and start. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. This is an opening that we start with. It's a customary opening that the Messenger of Allah that he would open whenever he gave a speech. Within it is a lot of guidance and a lot of instructions for people, for all of humanity. In actuality, it is, even though Islam, it is a religion known as a specific religion for a specific time and era, and people understand it that way to be for particular people, but it is not. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came, he did not come in the sense that he was bringing a new religion. He did not come as though he were bringing a new religion. He did not come with the idea that he was implementing something new or that he was in a different line of work than Moses, than Abraham, than Jesus alayhi salam, than any of those great messengers of Allah that came to humanity. He did not come with that concept. He did not come with that idea or notion that he was bringing something different and something new. And even though at the beginning of his mission, the people that he had originally was speaking to, these were people who was practicing a religion that one would call paganism or idolatry or any, indigenous religions that you find around the world. Even to them, he did not come as though he was bringing a new religion. And within that, it is some guidance for the people. His whole concept was that he was coming, calling the people back to the purity of what they believed themselves, calling them back to the purity of what they themselves believed at the time. He did not come saying, hey, take my religion and leave your religion. He did not come with that concept in its basic meaning that I am on a religion that it is totally different and foreign to anything you have ever heard. No, he was saying leave from your misguidance to guidance, back to the Creator whom you believe in, who you yourself worship and acknowledge. Leave from what you have invented and added and conceptualized on your own to come back to that purity which God had initially sent to you, initially prescribed for you. So that is essential because, like I said last time when we was talking, is that Islam did not come or setting that this exclusivity to religion, this exclusivity to Allah, to God, to the Creator. No, Islam did not come with that sense, but it came in a universal sense that all of humanity had once been upon the same exact guidance. That all of humanity seeks out the same exact guidance. And it was coming, only being reintroduced in its pure form. In its pure form, and that it had only differences that it had were for local, geographical, and for the purposes of universality that Islam would embody, because all other religions were tailored specifically for that region of the world. But Islam had come to offer a universality and faith that had never been seen before. Because even Jesus, if you read what is left of the Injil in the Bible, you will see that he came to the children of Israel. And that you'll find in most indigenous religions that it was tailored for their surroundings, their environment, and to those people particularly. And that's why you'll find a lot of people returning to those religions because of their ethnic or their racial identity. That they're finding that because I am Caucasian, thus my religion must be one that originated with the Caucasian. And because I am black, that my religion must be that which had originated for the black. And Islam had came to do away with that in the sense that to make a universal family. And that is one of the differences that Islam did come and bring. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came speaking to all of humanity. Firstly, he came to his people initially, and then Allah broadened his mission. And that was one of the great great blessings that Allah blessed him with, that he expanded his mission to include all of humanity, that he was a rahmah to alameen, that he was a mercy of all of existence. A mercy to alameen, a mercy to the whole of creation, that that Allah had sent him with that as additional blessing. But he did not come so that his speech, when we open up in Arabic, many may think that, this is something foreign to them. Because at this channel, what I do, I don't do it just for the Muslims alone, but for anyone who wants to hear it. And so I'm speaking to those who are not familiar with it. Most of the Muslims are familiar with it and they understand it. But I wanted everyone to know that when I speak in Arabic, it is not to for anything of show off, and I have no intentions on trying to speak over your head. But I wanted to give a benefit that the Messenger of Allah he gave. I did not translate it today, trying to save time. But you can go on the YouTube channel, Saturday study sessions, and you will find where we had gave the translation to it. And there's some guidance in that for everyone. If you were to study those words, that you will find much guidance in that. So what we have been talking about here on these Saturdays, and this class is gonna we're intending to cover the basis of the religion and its practices and all eventually. But we're starting with the number one topic, and that is Tawhid. That is the oneness of Allah. And trying to give a basic explanation of that for those who may not generally know what a Tawhid is, and giving it in some way a look that even some of the Muslims may not have viewed it in that context, but it is in that context that we understand it in its core. And we learn a lot of times terminologies, and those terminologies, within those terminologies is this basic understanding. But some people can't go beyond the terminologies to understand this practical implication. And this is where you become stagnated, because you don't understand its practical implications within your life. And where does it stand in terms of how you live this concept and what this concept does for you beyond just giving you a mental comprehension, but that it gives you something that in your daily actions. And so we use the story of Abraham, the story of Ibrahim, that he was the quintessential example of the one who comes to this understanding of Tawhid, this understanding of this oneness of Allah. And this is what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came and he brought to the people as well. When he came to them, he was essentially, his first 13 years was spent implementing and explaining explication of Tawhid, the oneness of Allah. And when you look at his statements, you look at the Quran and his statements in the Hadith, you see from Allah in the Quran and from his statements in the Hadith, you see that this was taught in the way that without use of the terminology, but in its basic implication and understanding. And so we see in Abraham's story, Ibrahim, he went in search of guidance. And this is the very first leg of the race. This is how we began. Every single person in humanity, they first embark on, many call it searching for enlightenment, right? They seek out enlightenment. And what is this enlightenment, this light? This is Allahu Nuru Samawati wal Ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. So essentially, this seeking out of this enlightenment, it is actually searching for Allah. It is the seeking for Allah, the seeking of one's existence, an explanation, an understanding of our being. And then from that, an understanding as to our purpose. And so when one seeks out enlightenment, what you'll find, so all of the prophets and all of the people you'll find in history, when they began, you'll see this search for enlightenment. And this is Tawhid. They are seeking Tawhid. As we see in Abraham's story, that's exactly what brought him to the conclusion of Tawhid, the conclusion of Allah's oneness. How? Because he began, like most human beings, dealing with that which is physical. Right? When you began to first contemplate and you seek out an understanding from the physical world. You look at that which is present, that which is tangible. And so this is what he did, and this is what you'll find all of them. I don't care who. They seclude themselves from the people. And this is a lesson that in order for you to get yourself right, you got to remove yourself from that the elements that got you in the bad spot in the first place. Right? How can you elevate beyond that which you have submerged yourself in? Right? It is very difficult. You can't get clean laying in the mud. So the first thing you must do, and I don't have COVID, so for everybody, do not feel sorry that I'm suffering from some COVID. So the first thing that one does, he must seek out or remove himself from people, from the environment, from all that which is conducive for the past behavior, right? All the things that facilitate, all the things that make the past behavior grow, foster this behavior, right? You must remove yourself from that first. So you see in the story of Ibrahim, And so Abraham, he removed himself from his people and used to go out and look at the heavens and the stars and contemplate. This removing yourself from the people, from the environment, that is, it breeds the past behavior. I don't care what it is. Anything you're trying to do, you first gotta, if you're trying to be a track star, you gotta remove yourself from people who do not care anything about track, anything about racing or running, and they see it to be a folly, to be a silly, that you can't have this negative mindset around you. It ain't saying you gotta hate the people, but you have to remove yourself so you can think clearly in the manner in which you want to think in. You have to remove yourself so you stop having bad and negative examples to having positive examples, or no examples at all. No examples is better than having bad examples. So you have to remove yourself first from the people, from the environment that is conducive to the bad behavior, negative thinking, and all these sorts of things, and then get yourself in a place and in a space, because it could be a place and meaning a mind, right? And then it could be a space, meaning an actual physical place. So you have to remove yourself from these negative influences and put yourself in an environment. And then sometimes it's very difficult, as many of us who was in prison and many of us who are in prison, that we know in those environments it's very, very difficult. So you have to seclude yourself in your room sometimes. That's the best you can do. Or you go to the library, or you go to the rec yard. You have to first find times when you can remove yourself from the people, from their negative environment, from the negative influence. And then you can begin to think straight. You can begin to now contemplate on that which is better for you. You can start to give yourself more information from observation and from, textual and intellectual proofs. So you may get a book. You may, just contemplate and think about the positive examples that you have seen in life, and envision yourself doing these things as they did those things, and following the path that they followed, and going over the stories and the things that you find that people that have made it to the place where you want to make it. Like even if I'm trying to make this as practical as possible. Even in the case of prison, you want to get out of prison, you have to study cases that have won. So you have to take yourself from the housing unit, and go to the law library, and you have to go take yourself from a place where people are not studying law. Go to a place where people are studying law. Read about people who have won cases, even with some of the people who have lost, and that you can be able to contemplate and see the way forward. And see, this is the removing yourself from the environment that is not conducive to growth, not conducive to what you're trying to do. And so this is what Abraham did. This is what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did, that they removed themselves from the people. You see, Moses did it. You'll find many others, examples in writings of other people, like even the writings of Buddha. He traveled and sought enlightenment by removing himself from the people and seeking out enlightenment. And as we know, this light, this guidance, this what everyone seeks, it comes from Allah. It emanates from Allah. It is the light that Allah has sent through humanity's guidance. And so people seek that out. And the first way of seeking that out is by removing yourself from all that which is darkness. Taking yourself from out of the darkness and taking yourself forward towards the light. And this would be more conducive. They have a terms, what they say, positive and negative reinforcement. You must remove all negative reinforcement, things that reinforce negativity, and you must replace them with positive reinforcement. And it's a thing a lot of people may not really realize. This is one of the reasons why To me, I don't like hearing a bunch of rubbish because it is negative reinforcement. I don't like that. I don't want to hear it. Not that it's not true. Just I don't want to hear it. I heard enough of it in my life. I'm 49 years old. I done heard enough of it. I don't need to hear no more. I don't need to know that we were slaves and as our ancestors were, because I know our ancestors was more than just slaves. I don't need to hear. I've been through school. I've been through reading. I'm well acquainted with the subject, and I don't need to keep being told about that as though I don't know, because this is a negative reinforcement. And even though you might not see it, it is a negative reinforcement. And to some, it is a positive reinforcement because they see themselves as masters in this story. And so for them, they love to hear it. They love to see more of it. And then some people, they in misery and pain, and they love to hear more of it because they want to see what bad people did to them, so it can fuel their anger and their hatred. I don't have any need for any of that. And so, I remove myself from that. And then likewise, when it comes to trying to seek the enlightenment, you must remove yourself from all those things that are negative to that and bring yourself to that which is positive to that. And this is what all of the prophets did. This is what Abraham did in our story. And this light is actually seeking Allah, to know the source of our creation, to know the one who sustains our existence, and the one who has manufactured our purpose, the one who is in total control, who is the orchestrator of all things. And so we choose a path that leads to him, or we choose a path that leads away from him. Or we choose a path leading to light, or we choose a path that is going to darkness. And this is our predicament in life, that we are either going towards darkness or we are going towards light. And this is not even a thing that is reserved for certain people. All people, all walks of life. You're either going towards that which is positive or going towards that which is negative. And this, I say, it is the first leg of the journey. It is the first leg of the journey to figure out, your existence and why you exist in this world. And that is what Islam brings as its paramount, its most important factor. It is this connection, this redirection towards the light. يُخْرِجُونَ مِنَ النَّارِ يُخْرِجُونَ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ, taking the people from the darkness. إِلَى نُورٍ, taking them from the darkness to the light. And this is the first thing that Islam does. It is that awakening within you to bring you to a conscious realization of the existence of the source of all of creation and your connection with that source, needing no intermediaries, needing nothing in between you and that source, nothing in between you and that light, nothing. That it gives you a direct pathway to that light, where you may bask in that light and you may find guidance and enlightenment for your life. This is the first thing that must happen of a person, because if you're traveling without your eyes open, if you're traveling without being conscious of where you're going, then you are wandering, and you just as well as been in the darkness. Because when you come in the dark and you go into the light, you have no conscious understanding of when you are in either one of those. You are in one or the other, and it makes no difference. You have to come to this understanding, and you must make this something so important to you in your life. We find so many ways of trivializing this subject, where you find a person, when it comes to anything else, they're very tedious. Like, they want the Carfax. They're going to buy a car. You can't just tell them know anything about the car. No, bring me the car, let me check out the car. Who is this previous owner? What is the titles on this car? How is this, they want to go into all the details in order to come to a conclusion within themselves as to, is this a good purchase? They're not taking on anyone's statement about that. But a car, it takes you places where you desire to go, right? But a car needs a path. It needs a road. It needs a road. It needs a path. You don't put a car on water. You can't put a car through mountains where there's no path. You can't put a car through a city unless you find the streets and the roadways within the city. So a car, it may be of some use in this world, but even that use is limited. But the most greatest thing that you need in life, the most greatest thing you need in life, it is that inner guidance. That light that lights up, that gives sight to not just the eyes, but to the soul. Because as we know that the eyes cannot work without light. That's a miracle. That is one of the things that the eyes need in order to function. Light. That's why the least you have, the less you can see. Right? The more light you have, the better you can see. Light, it is that which causes the eyes to see. With all of its other functions, it needs light to see. And your soul, you need that light. Your heart, you need that light. If you don't have that light, that spiritual light, then anyone can control you by controlling your desire. Right? How do you train a dog? You can't just beat him into submission and no, they use tools of giving him treats when he does what they want him to do. Denying him of treats when he do not do what they want him to do. Because they control the dog by his desires. Because the dog, his desires are very strong. And so they control him by his desires. So it is same way when you have no spiritual guidance, you are following your desire. Your desires are leading you everywhere you go. And so the people will control you by controlling those things that you desire, because you will have no discipline. You will have no discipline. You go when it's available and you stop when it is not. Right? And this is one of the things that is manipulating you and controlling you. And Islam came to free you from enslavement to the creation by making you servants to the Creator. By giving you that inner light, that inner guidance, you are able now to travel among men, walk among men with your head up. You're able to walk within humanity, among humanity, not being manipulated and controlled by those who wish to control you, because you know the way you are going. You know the direction you are having to go. And you know once you begin that, as we said before, that it will put you at odds with many people. Those who do not desire to go anywhere, those who like to stay where they are, or those who are going in the opposite direction of you. And so you will have some opposition. Then some may be apparent and some may not be apparent. But in the same manner, it is, in either event, it is the opposition. And so this is something that you must be aware of when going on to that journey. And as we said, that journey is a journey to Allah, a journey to God, the Creator, the source of existence, and it is a personal relationship. before it is a communal relationship, it is a personal relationship that you will have with the Creator. So we now begin to understand that light, it is the purpose of Tawhid, and then now we can go to thinking of, before we get into actual Islamic definitions, but who is, or what is this source, this Creator, this one who started all of existence? The first thing you must know is that whatever you imagine, it is not Him. Whatever you imagine is not Him. Why? Because whatever you would imagine, it is that which has been created. It is that which has been created, and it is of His creation. It is not of Him. And He has made that very clear, that there's nothing like unto Him. And so the first thing, and this is what Abraham came to the conclusion when he saw the stars and the moon and the sun, and then he came to realization after each one of those things let him down. As we chased the woman, we chased the job, we chased the this and the that, and each one of these things let us down. Then he came to this one conclusion clearly. Who is the originator of all of this? Who is the originator of all of this? That is the only one that is worthy of my devotion. Right? That is the one who is worthy of all of my devotion, the one who created all that we know of, all that we see. This not one created thing that we worship. No, because all those things that came into existence by one prior to all of its existence, the one who has no beginning, has no end. So we know this of Him. Because why? If He had a beginning, then there was some who created Him. And then therefore He would be the one more deserving of worship. And so we know that the one before all names, before all attribution, the one who is the originator of all of that, all of the attributes, all of the created things, the one who is the source of all of that, it is the one who is worthy of our worship. And so that is in its essence who Allah is. He is the source of all, the originator of all. Some people, they get caught up in the name Allah, and they think that Allah, when you say Allah, then you're talking about another God. No. Do you believe there's more than one God? You believe there's more than one originator? Do you believe there's more than one who created all existence? If you don't, if you believe that there is only one source, one creator of the heavens and the earth and all that exists, then there is no other God, and you and I have the same God. It just may be you may understand Him differently. And I use the word God loosely because we're speaking English, and I'm trying to say that which the people understand. We prefer the word Allah because in the Arabic context, the word Allah, and not only Muslims prefer the word Allah, but you have Christians who are Arab. Christians who are Arab. You have Jews who are Arab. And they use the same word. You have those that were even before those religions, and they also use the same word from its root source. And you'll find it in many cultures around the world that has a Semitic religion, a Semitic language as its mode of expression, that you'll find that in the root of the one whom they attribute as the one who is the creator of all existence, the one who is the source of all existence, that you will find them use a word that comes from the same root word of Allah. So the word is not exclusive to Muslims. And we use that word because it is more proper in terms of it can't be turned into gender and this and that. Although in languages they ascribe it a male gender, but it has no ability to be either one plural. It don't have the ability to be plural. It doesn't have the ability to be feminine or masculine. It is what it is. And so, if you do not believe in more than one God, you do not believe in more than one creator, then we have the same. When Muhammad came, he spoke to those who were of the indigenous religion, in a sense, people who was practicing indigenous religions around Arabia and even as far as Africa. He spoke to all of them and called them to the one source, the one creator. And when he was speaking to the Christians and later to the Christians and the Jews, he said to them also, calling them to the one creator. He did not come saying that stop worshiping a creator other than the creator. No. He said to stop attributing to him things that you had no source, that you had no authority to attribute to him. Stop giving him human characteristics because he is not human. Stop giving him the characteristics of the creation. And this what caused the split, because he did not come and say your religion and my religion is different. No. He came with the same core message, La ilaha illallah, that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, except the creator of the heavens and the earth, the source, the existence of all, the source of all existence. This is the one he called them to, so it didn't matter who his audience was, whether it was Jew, Christian, or pagan, that he called them all to the same. He called them all to the same because there is only one source of creation. And this is who he called them to, and this is the enlightenment, and this is what we all seek, attachment in a relationship to this light-giving source. And this source would give us guidance in order to walk and live among humanity. This is what gives us that peace. By surrendering to this light, we find that inner peace. Then we find that peace within our society by following this divine order. Because it is from Allah that Allah, He created, it is from Allah, the creation of all things. And it said that the first thing that Allah created, and it's in a hadith by Ibn Jabir, that the first, very, very, very first thing, it was the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the light that would eventually culminate to the light that was brought by Muhammad. It is the light that was the existence, what all of existence came from. And so this light, Allah sent this light down, and this light, it was created as emanated from His light. As we know, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was presented before Allah, that it was a veil of light between him and Allah. And from this light emanated the light that created all of existence. And Allah Ta'ala has power over all things, for He created all things. And so within His power comes His decree. And all things, Allah created them, and He decreed their portion. And within this decree, it is Allah's unity. It is the divine order, the Tawhid of Allah, the divine order, the order bringing all things into order, putting them under his sole command. And to find yourself within this order is to find yourself with guidance. And so Allah Ta'ala, He said in the Quran, in a verse, Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu biqadar. And indeed, everything we created it with a decree. Every single thing. And so, from this light that was before all of existence, when all of existence was non-existent, darkness, then Allah set forth this light that began the creation of all things. Khalaqa wa qadara. He created and He decreed. He created and He determined and He measured and He set out His proportions for everything in existence. Khalaqa wa qadara. Khalaqa wa qadara. He created and He determined. And this determination, it is set the specifications, the specs for every single thing in existence. Starting from the pen, from the tablet, to the planets, the moon and the stars and the rest of all of existence. Khalaqa wa qadara. He created and He determined for every single thing, from the rain, from the sun, from the wind, from the molecules, from the trees, from the bees, from the water, from the fish in the water, the plankton, the whales, the rocks, the trees, and the land on the earth, the sand, the human being, the animals, everything. Khalaqa wa qadara. He created and He determined and He set out its proportion for every single thing. Every single thing. And it sets this divine unity. It sets this divine order. This divine order coming from one command. One command. Creating this whole universe. This union, this one verse. This universe of all of this universe being one symmetry. All of this universe, all of this existence having one single symmetry, one divine tapestry throughout the universe that you see. Khalaqa wa qadara, that He created and He determined and He defined how every single thing would be. To find yourself within this order is to find yourself with guidance, the way you walk as you should walk, that you live as you should live, and you talk as you should talk, and you will get what comes with that. And when you do other than that, you're going to get what comes with that. As we know, you place fire on something that will burn it, right? Why? Because of the qaddara, because of the determination, the way that the fire was made to act, its elements, and what it does exactly what it should do. So when you take it, you knowing what the fire is, you set it to something else to cause a reaction that you are already knowing what it would be. How do you know this? From your experience, you're experimenting with this element. You have understood that it has certain determinate factors. Certain determinate factors that you know. So you take this fire and you place it on stuff and you do things good with it. You do things bad with it. You do whatever that you know that you can accomplish because of its predetermined elements, its predetermined factors. And this is like every single thing in this universe. It has predetermined factors. Predetermined factors. That if you do these certain things, that it would be a natural response, reaction, a natural occurrence because of its predetermined factor. And this is how scientists, they go around not inventing anything, not truly creating nothing, but they go around and gather this understanding of the predetermining factors of each thing. Right? When they give you stuff for medicine, the doctor, he give you things that he know has a predetermined factors that will cause certain things within you to happen because of its predetermined factors. And all these factors was who set them? Who set these factors? The same one who set the factors of your existence. The same one who set the factors of the heavens and the earth. The same one who set the factors that you will need breath to breathe. Right? That you will need breath. You will need air to breathe. That if you do not take in the air, and you will not be able to exhale no air. If you don't take in the air, you don't get no oxygen. If you don't get no oxygen, the body will be deprived of oxygen and it will die. Why? Because it is in need of the oxygen. Why is it in need of the oxygen? Because of the predetermined elements of the oxygen. The body needs those reactions within it. So it needs to take in the air to get the oxygen in order that it may do what it does. Right? And so how in the world can you think you can live in this world devoid of this predetermining factor? How? That you think you can just wander and do as you please and that you're going to get results that is diametrically opposed to the predetermined factors. How? How is it? Every single thing has a predetermined factor. What goes up must come down. Right? What goes up must come down because of what? Because of gravity. Because gravity pulls things down. It pulls things down. We did not create gravity. We just understood it. It was there already. So now we understand it, then we work within its confines. We work within its parameters. We work within its framework to be able to do and accomplish the things that we want to do. And sometimes we use it to our good. Sometimes we use it to our bad. And sometimes we try to defy it because of we understanding its limitations. That we know that now if we come with something that has greater force than it per whatever, then we know that this could defy the gravity. But nothing less than that will. The same way, how will you find peace in your house? How? When the social structure, it has predetermined factors. It has predetermined factors. How can you have a relationship and think there will be harmony in it? There are predetermined factors. If you lie, you will break trust. If you deceive, you will break trust. These are predetermined factors. These are predetermined factors. How can you have harmony in the house without understanding the predetermining factors and knowing how should we behave? How should we act? How should we interact with one another? What is a right of this one? That they have a right over me. What is my right over them? If you just come up with it on your own, fine. But believe this, sometimes you will be right. And many times you will be wrong. And it'll be those times that you are wrong that you will go against the predetermining factors and you will cause chaos, mayhem. You will cause, like you will be bringing fire and try to put it in the bed with you because if it's warm. Yeah, it's warm, but you are stupid. You can't put fire under the cover with you. It will burn you. It will burn everything down. And this is because why? We understand it's predetermined factors. And in life, there are so many of those things. In existence, there are so many of those things that Allah has set the balance, the mizan. وَلَا تُخْسِرُوا الْمِيزَانِ. Do not mess with the balance, Allah said. He has set everything with a balance. He set everything. خَلَقَ وَانْقَدَّرَ. He created it and He determined it. And He set its proportions and its balance. Do not, لَا تُخْسِرُوا الْمِيزَانِ. Do not disturb its balance. But how can you not disturb it when you're ignorant of it? This is why we are in need of that light, that guidance. Allah knows this. He created you. He knew you would need it. He knew that He can't leave you to just figure it out on your own. Because there's too many human beings on earth. It would be too many different ways and too many different methods as we see today. And it would be nothing but chaos and mayhem with your Creator. Would He leave you like that? Not just you, but all of humanity, all of the thousands and millions and billions of people. Would He leave them like that? Or would He give them some instructions? Not billions of instructions to billions of people. No, but one wahid, one universal divine instruction to cause a unity among humanity. A unity among humanity. Would He do that? What would you think your Creator, the source of all existence, the one who was so magnificent that He made your mother, that He was so magnificent that He placed in someone some love and care for you, that they would be so kind to you, that they would be when you were just a little nothing, that they were so kind to you, a time when you can't even remember, you can't even recall it no more, that they fed you when you could not feed yourself, when somebody could have thumped you and caused your death, that they fed you, they protected you, they clothed you, they washed you, they did all of this. Why would He leave you to wander in this world after that? Is He not merciful? Is He not kind? Is He not loving enough that He will at least leave some form of guidance that will bring humanity together, that will cause a universal order, to put everyone in order with the divine universal order of all existence. Right? Why would He not do that? When He took the time to set in motion so much compassion and so much caring among people, that He set you in a way that one needs the other, that He made you knowing you would need oxygen, that He created trees, that the trees would make the oxygen. Why would He then leave you without guidance? The source of all existence, why would He leave you without guidance? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And this is because it is nonsense. He would never do that. He would never do that, but He will always leave you guidance so that you may find light in the darkness, You may find a way forward, and that it may empower you and not weaken you. That it will empower you and not weaken you. Anyone who takes an observation of Islam and see where it has come among a people, anywhere on this earth, because it has been a lot of places. And when you see how Islam, in this pure form, in this original form, that when it came among a people, did it not empower them? Did you see dynasties come from that? Did you see empires come from that? Did you see a people walk with dignity? Did you see a people who were low and it empowered them and gave them dignity and put them among the rankings of men in the rest of the world? Yeah. You can't find another comparison where something came to a people, not one people, but it came to Europe, it came to Africa, it came to Asia. Everywhere where the people, they chose it. They chose this as the light, as the path to the enlightenment. The people who chose this path, and said this is the path to enlightenment. This is the path to Allah. Nuru samawati wal ard, the light of the heavens and the earth. That they saw this as the path to Him. That everywhere it went, and these people say this is the path to enlightenment. Everywhere you have seen this, you've seen the people empowered. Every single way. Every single way. And even when it's among individuals, just a few of them. Do you not see how, when you see a group of them, they have chosen this way, and they said this is the enlightened path, and they have embodied it. They have taken on these characteristics, taken on these instructions. Did they not seem to be more dignified? Did they not seem to be more elevated? They did not seem to be more powerful. Or were they weakened? No, you find them empowered. You find them empowered and strengthened. You find them among the people, being able to walk among humanity with their head up. If they are not the superior, they are at least upon par with all who are. This is what Allah offers to all of humanity through the path that is identified as Islam. This is what Allah has offered to all who has chosen the path of Islam. If you submit to this willingly, then you will find that which Allah has for you. We're going to close today, and inshallah we'll see everyone next week, same time from 10 to 11. This is a new time. I appreciate everyone who showed up and who, it'll be on YouTube later. On Saturday study sessions, we're going to put it on there, and for everyone can revisit it. And if it was some benefit for anyone, please share it. And if it was any mistakes, please forgive me and make dua for me that Allah aid me next time to make less or no mistake.